So I'm going to stick with my crafts. I'm going to stay in my lane. Playing with tweezers. Good morning, my glorious followers, and welcome to another studio vlog with me, Carolyn, from Crafting with Glorious Purpose. If you are new, welcome. If you're not, welcome also. Here at Crafting with Glorious Purpose, we make unique and custom gifts for you or for that someone special. This week, we're going to give a recap on our market from Saturday and start prepping for our next one, which is going to be fast approaching. We're about a month out from the Bark at the Park, and we got a couple new items that I want to take there. So you've seen the vinyl decals with the nose art ones, and I'll put an example here. We have those all completed, packaged, and I just need to enter them into Square. The next thing on my list was keychains. I have those kind of underway, and I have my brand new product, which I threw out on social media to get some guesses. That didn't go so well. I think only 2 people guessed, which was kind of weird because out of Facebook I have like 2,000 followers and I got 2 responses. So I don't think anybody either saw it or didn't care, which is all good. So I might throw out another teaser in the next, like sometime this week. And then I have keychains. That's all I've been working on. I did a big chunk of them yesterday. So I'm about halfway through the dog breeds of my 80 dogs. And yeah, I mean, other than that, we can jump in and talk about how the craft market went. And then at lunchtime, I'm going to be working on keychains. I also this week want to work on my tent banner for that event so that I have one. And then that way I can use it for all my summer markets. I did get a flyer from someone that was walking the event looking for vendors for their show, which was in October. So I registered for that. I'm waiting to hear back if I get accepted. It's a 3-part approval process. So I completed the first part. If I get accepted, they send me the part 2, and then I will be an actual vendor for there. But it is a fall festival with 175 crafters, food trucks, a mobile petting zoo. Like, this thing is legit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this one. This one is going to be a little bit of a drive for us, but I think it'll be totally worth it. It sounds like it's going to be a bigger event, and they get a lot of foot traffic. So it seems very well organized, going through and doing the form with Google and how they have everything spelled out. I think this one's going to be a good one to get into. So that would be great, because I usually don't have any events in October. So I'm looking forward to that one. So I will let you know how that process goes if I get accepted. But other than that, let's get into how the market went. Okay. So let's talk about our market on Saturday. So Saturday we were at our Hopewell show, and it was from 9 to 2, and we had a very slow beginning. Like, it took a while for people to start coming in. So I don't know. It was a gorgeous day. It hit 78 degrees, which was crazy. It was, we left in the morning with just t-shirts on. Like, it was very, very, very warm. So we were hopeful that people would be, get rid of that cabin fever and run out and see what was going on. Like I said in my previous video, there was another market going on close to the area, but not like in the same town. Like, it was a few towns over. So that one was a big multi-day event. So I was kind of hopeful that it was big enough that people were out and about doing both, but I don't know how the traffic was. Maybe people were waiting till lunchtime, but it wasn't until maybe so we started at 9. It wasn't until about 11:30ish that traffic started to come in, which was fine. I mean, in the morning we had everything set up, ready to go, and you had seen in the previous video, we did our setup, and the tags on the top worked great. The only thing is the one, like the stickiness on the tabs, the magnets were sticking together, but it came off the paper. So we had to adjust that one a couple times. I think it might have been because of the weight of having another piece of paper on there with my cutout. So I might have to like secure that on there differently. Or even just running a piece of tape across those magnets, but maybe those magnets just don't stick to paper very well, which is kind of, a bummer. But anyway, getting off topic. So everything else went really well. It's a very well organized event. They had food. They had, it's a VFW, so it wasn't a huge event. The group of vendors that were there, I've seen there many times. There were a few new people that I saw from the last 2 markets that we did. Some people buy multiple tables. There was a lot of crafters that sew, a lot of crochet. There was a few jewelry, and I was pretty much the only one that did what I had. So there wasn't a lot of people doing what I had there. So I don't know if I stood out for the wrong reasons. We did make our table fee back. We ended up doing, let's see here. How many sales did we end up having? I think we had total transactions for that day ended up being 7, and we collected double our booth fee. So we were at about $66. With how slow it was, I was actually surprised that we made that. Again, dog stickers, those went like crazy. I had, surprisingly, I had somebody ask me for a Havanese, and my husband was laughing because he was like, I heard him like sigh, and then I was like, yep, I have that. And he was like, oh my God, we do. And so when I ramped up I had my regular dog breeds, I had a lot of people asking me about dogs. And I thought, well, I'm going to go all in. So I got, like I said, 80 dog breeds in the hopes that somebody didn't come up and ask me for a dog I didn't have. I did have somebody ask me if we did mixed breeds, and I do have a couple, but I was like, I tend to stay away from those because that can be anything. That's very specific. And if you wanted that, you could ask me and I would make it for you, but I'm not going to keep it on stock for somebody that doesn't have that breed. So yeah, I did sell quite a few stickers. Dash Hound was another one that was a big hit. I sold out of those. And I did sell a dog bandana. I sold a solar light. The vendor that was behind me heard me explaining it to other people because people were asking questions about them. And actually there was a couple that came from out of state that were looking, and they had asked, how those work. And so I showed how they worked, and he came over and he purchased one. And so I was really thankful. I mean, your vendors are your best friends there. So very, very nice couple. They had a booth behind me, and we had to share a space and kind of move and let people in. And yeah, it was tight in there. That's the only thing about being in a little room like that is it's very tight. So all in all, it was a great transition event to get moved in. I don't ever rake in a ton of money at this event. It's always one that I like to support because it's local and it's for the volunteer fire department. So I believe, strongly in supporting in little small communities and things like that. So I got my name out there. I did get some people that took my card and were excited about the shadow boxes and the memorials. So hopefully I'll get some business from those. And all in all, it was a nice local 5-minute away from our house kind of show. And yeah, I mean, if it comes up next year and it's the exact same time as the other show, I don't know. I'm torn about doing that show. The bigger show is multiple days, and I I don't know enough about it to say that I had to set up and do all 3 days. It was an 8-hour event, which is a little more than I want to start off with, for a year. This is a good starter show for getting back into the swing of things. So I will have to, I'll have to see how those come up next year. I followed that other page to see what those events look like, but I have a feeling there was probably duplicates, and I would probably do the same. So I like the smaller shows only because people aren't overwhelmed or have already bought it 3 vendors down. So kind of have to weigh the good and the bad there. So like I said, all in all, I was very happy with it. Even just making my table feedback, I was happy with that. It's a little extra money in my pocket so that we can purchase some things to get ready for the next event. So this event will probably pay for my banner, and that's all good. It's all good for me. Like I'm not making hundreds and thousands at my events. I have too many small items to make that kind of money. My big ticket item is my shadow boxes, and people have bought them at the events, and I'm very grateful for that. But most of the time, those are what get people in my booth, and they go after the stickers. So it is nice to see people out spending money, though, which is always nice, because I think, at the end of the Christmas, it was very quiet for us, and I'm kind of glad that people are kind of getting out, breaking off the winter blues and coming out and shopping and supporting us. So I'm thankful for everybody that stopped by my booth, and I'm hoping to hopefully considering doing this booth again. And if not, I'm definitely going to keep them in mind for future events, but it may not be for next year. So with that said, I got to get logged into work. It's about that time, and I will see you at lunch while we make a lot of keychains. And can I just say how much I think I've said with crochet, I don't have the patience for that kind of stuff, but I totally appreciate the amount of work that crocheters put into work on those items. They look fabulous, but I couldn't do it. And I found myself doing these little jump rings on these key rings. So they come like that, and then they have a little jump thing that you have to attach. Just putting that little jump ring on, oh my God, it was driving me insane yesterday. I would clip them with the clips, hold on to it, it would fly off. Oh my God, I am not a jewelry maker. I don't have the patience for that either. So I was like, I am not going to be jumping into anything that has to do with putting little rings and stuff together. This is the extent of that tediousness, like just doing the jump rings on these key rings. So I'm hoping these key rings take off, because then I can get in a rhythm of how to put them in there. But doing these, oh my God, it took me longer to do that than to design them. It was frustrating. So definitely not a jewelry maker. And so I'm going to stick with my crafts. I'm going to stay in my lane. So, all right, we'll catch you at lunch. Bye. I am cracking on, working on all these dogs. I've got this stack completed that just need the jump rings and the actual key rings attached, and I have those here. I have a stack here of all the dogs that are printed that need sublimated. So I'm going to try to work on these here at lunch. And it's just taping them and making this nice little package so that I can do about 12 at a time. So I'm going to go through and get a set done and try to get these all sublimated really quickly so that I can spend the rest of my evening tonight putting jump rings on and playing with tweezers and just tedious little stuff. So that I can actually sit and maybe do and relax and work on that. But I got to get these in here first. So I'm going to work on getting all the film off of these, taping them up, and then we'll go and we'll sublimate. So we're finishing up the last few here, and then we're going to go and press them, and trying to work assembly line as quick as possible because, like I said, I only can do this on my lunch break. So I'm trying to make sure that I make time to eat. And these last few dogs, I have a couple oopsie ones that just don't meet my standards, that I guess when I was putting them on, I put them on a little crooked so the dogs aren't centered. And so I'm going to work on fixing those. And then my hope is once we get the dogs done, then I can look at maybe bringing in some cats as well. But since this is a dog show, I want to make sure that I have the dogs completed for that first, and then work on bringing some cat ones to the shop. And I don't have a ton of cats, so that shouldn't take too long. But nevertheless, like I said, this was a little bit more of an undertaking for the dogs. And then, you know, I can work on bringing those a little later. And I haven't heard anything yet about the show. I was waiting to see, because they sent me the application, or not the app. Well, I guess technically it's an application, but they sent me that on Sunday, which I thought was really quick. I didn't think anybody was going to be looking at those. So I was kind of keeping an eye out on my inbox to see if I got any notifications back about getting into this show. I'm really hoping that I can get in there. There was another show that had opened up. It was a last minute Facebook reach out from the vendor. I guess they had some cancellations, and I reached out to be a vendor, and they told me that they had people selling the same things, that there was overlap with what I was selling, so they were going to pass. It would have been for this weekend, and I normally don't like doing back-to-back weekends just because it, you know, not only takes up my time, but I also need to bring my boys with me, and I don't want to do that to them and have them doing 2 weekends in a row. But this one was also a very close show, and it, you know, I was hopeful that I could get in with the last minute notice, and it wasn't a super expensive show, but unfortunately that did not work out. So we now have a free weekend, and tomorrow technically is my business anniversary. and I'm hoping that I can do something really cool. It's probably not going to be, I don't know if I can turn it around for this weekend, but I want to do an online show by doing a live and kind of thanking everybody and doing that kind of stuff. But we'll see how it goes. I hopefully can put that together quickly and make that happen, but I was holding off in case I got accepted to the show on the weekend, and that looks like that is not going to happen. So, and I should have set my press up to warm up while I was doing this, but I did not. So, which is okay. It heats up pretty quick. I can hopefully eat my sandwich while I'm waiting for it to heat up, and then we'll get these pressed. On the last one, leaves me with 3 that I have left. These were the 2 that I did that I wasn't happy with. This one's the, I believe, German Shepherd. This side turned out great. This side's a little crooked, so I'm not overly happy with the way that turned out. And then I have this one here. This one I definitely screwed it up, so when it hangs, it will be sideways. But this side is okay. So I'm going to probably redo those 2. And then in looking at these, there were a couple, the dogs are a little dark, and the background, what I was doing was, so when I was working on these on the iPad and I was creating the backgrounds for these, I was sampling the colors that were already in. And that's the nice thing. I worked on these in Fresco, which is kind of like a, I guess their version of, what am I thinking of? It's their version of Photoshop, but it also has some capabilities for vector, which kind of, kind of mimics the, oh, I got this one stuck to my table. You can do the vector and you can do raster. And since I was putting these in, and these were already rastered illustrations, I wanted to add backgrounds to them, and it automatically, as soon as you put it in Fresco, it gives you a color palette based on what was used in the picture. So unfortunately, the Black Lab, I think, is just a little too dark and not as bright as I would like it. Like this one is a darker dog, but I used like a little bit of blues and purples. So he stands out a little better, but the other ones did not stand out as well. So I'm going to leave those there, and that gives me, unless they counted wrong, somehow I have 3 left. I'm going to have to recount my pups and make sure I'm not missing anybody. I know I'm missing a Cavalier King Charles. I got to do that one, but I don't have him done yet. I wasn't happy with the way the picture turned out, so there's no way to make that dog not look grumpy. Like every picture I even see online, they're just grumpy looking dogs. And I think it's the way their brow sits low. So I am going to get this press going and then get these packaged up. So I am torn between, so these are ones I have completed, and I put them in so they didn't get scratched, but they're not sealed. So I have them in their packaging the way they're going to look. And I tried, and I think it looks really cool, but the problem is my ink decided to get clogged, so it didn't finish. But those are supposed to be grayscaled leaves. I wanted to print the name of the dog along the bottom and then have some of my branding, my logo, and then like the leaves that I use in my brand. But it was supposed to be more of like a muted black, and it ended up printing them red. So I'm not sure what happened there. And I have extra cards. I got these backer cards on Amazon. They already have the holes cut, and they come with the little bags. So I have a couple extra cards that I can kind of play with. And yeah, I'm gonna see if I can unclog my printer, but that's for after work. I don't have the time to waste on that. So I'm gonna go get that press ready and eat some of my sandwich while it's warming up, and then I'll bring you along when we get these off the press. All right, so we're gonna press these, and this should go, like I said, pretty quick. So before I put them on, I double check and make sure that, so when I built these, I made them with a 1/8 of an inch bleed, so that, I don't know if you can see that, it doesn't go to the edge, so that there's a little room. So I just want to make sure by me moving them and I didn't shift anywhere. It takes a couple seconds, but it saves you from reprinting and doing them all over again. So I know that I made these pretty snug, so I don't think they're going anywhere, but I can say the only parts that moved were the ones that I screwed up taping them wrong. So, but 2 out of 80, not too bad. And I think we will be in good shape. So this should be hopefully 2 presses and all said and done. I do not, and I did these with my wind spinners too. I only pressed them once. They got hot enough that they sublimated the other side. So I don't flip them in the fear of ghosting them by moving them or touching them too many times or repressing them, because that's the last thing I want to do is redo them because because I have a ghosting issue. And I have not had any problems with all these ones that I've done. I just do them one time and call it a day. So I put these just to protect my pad on my press, and then I'm doing the standard 385 for 40 seconds. And I'm using my HTV Bront, which has been very good to us. I haven't had any issues with them. Then I'm gonna put on my glove, because ask me how I know these are hot. So we'll give these a couple seconds to cool down before we actually slide them out of here. And they go pretty quick and they slide right out. And there is one of our pups, the little schnauzer. Right. And we are ready to press our second batch here. So give them a quick peek. Make sure we're in good shape. And this batch will be a little smaller because we don't have, I don't think, 12. All right. All right, I'll put the light on for you because this area gets very dark, but here are all of our pups that we have done on this batch. I think they turned out super cute. We're gonna finish up this last batch. And what's nice is these are already cool. These cool down pretty quick. Oh, this one slid on me. I don't like that one. That one's a little off-centered for my taste. So that one's probably going to be a redo. But I think the rest of these turned out okay. So far, so good. And that's the nice thing. These things get so hot that they supplement both sides pretty quickly in it. Yeah, so I only have one that I got to redo out of that, so that it's not too bad. He did supplement nice, but he is just a little off center. So we will redo that one. These a little cool down. And let's take a peek at these. That one looks good. So glad to have these done off my list. Leaves me some extra time to work on some other stuff the rest of the week. All right, so we got the press off, and we're going to take care. Let's throw these away, and then we're going to take all this stuff back, and we'll take a look at these pups up close in the room. All right, I've got like 3 minutes left, so let's go through these dogs a little quicker. I'm not going to show you each one of them, but I was going to show you a couple of these that are my favorite. So here is the little dachshund. Or dachshund. I don't know. I've always called it a dachshund, but maybe I'm wrong. Little pug. We've got the little Shih Tzu. The Shar Pei. We've got Dalmatian. Let me see here. What else do we got? Oh, here's the long-haired dachshund. There's a corgi. I think the chocolate lab was really cute too. And so yeah, now I get the painstaking of going through this pile of dogs that I have, add these to it, and all of these will get the chains put on them, and then I got to work on the packaging because I definitely want I want them to look good. I'm afraid that the brown is just too plain, and I want to add my branding to them. So I have these that I've got to get chains and get them all assembled. And then that will have to be, that'll be a tonight problem because I have 1 minute left. And I did not eat the rest of my sandwich, so I'm going to be shoving that in too while I'm working. But just letting you know, that's where we're at. So I'm going to head back onto work, and then I will catch you tomorrow. Or if I feel like I'm not going to swear too much putting these jump rings in, I can bring you along tomorrow or tonight doing them. But tonight is a karate night, so I will probably be doodling in the car. So maybe we'll do some doodling in the car. But we'll catch you later. Hello, and welcome to Tuesday. It is actually a really glorious day. So even though the weather isn't glorious, I received my new business credit card yesterday in the mail. So I am excited about that. I was getting worried because my big cartel and my insurance were both coming up very soon, and I wasn't sure, especially like I think I had time on the insurance, but I know for a fact my big cartel renews in April, and I was so worried that I wasn't going to get my card in time and update the information in my account before it auto renewed, and that my website would be down, and I had a little panic attack. But all is good. It's all logged in, ready to go. So now when it renews, it will renew with my new card. So please stop hacking people's cards, because it's just a nightmare on our end to figure it out. So with that said, I got that all taken care of, and I did work on my packaging for my dog keychains. So I wanted to show you what they will look like. So in normal keychain world, let's do this. We'll take one out of here. So this one here is how it will look. And like I said, these are double-sided, so it's the same pup on both. And what I did was I jazzed up the card because, you know me, I needed to match. Like I needed to be a brand altogether. So there is the branded one. So I've got my logo, I've got the leaves from my logo, and I've got the name of the dog breed underneath. So that means every single one of these cards I need to run through, but I can't just batch do them. I need to put the name of the dog underneath. So what I'm going to do, and I use this process at my current work job, my 8 to 5. But you know, we have the Adobe Creative Suite. I don't know how many of you out there are designers. I know everybody has heard of or used Illustrator or Photoshop, but InDesign is actually more of a word processing type. Like I tend to build more ads in there because it's more for typesetting and doing, you know, things like that. So what I did was I made this template card in InDesign, and what I'm going to do is called a data merge. So a data merge is actually taking a spreadsheet, which I currently already have with all my dog breed names in it. And what I'm going to do is you basically map it to that area, and it will replace the names and make a single page for every one with the name that it has. So I will have one that will say Beagle, and then it'll go in alphabetical order and replace them all with a click of a button. Since I already have them typed, I don't have to sit here and copy and paste them, you know, 80 times. I just have to click that button and it will do it. So I'm going to bring you along and show you on here how to do a data merge in InDesign, and how I get those dog names in there and make it a little easier on myself in the long run and having them in there. Plus, this way they're already taken care of. I can do this with the cats as well. It would be just replacing the data on the spreadsheet and clicking data merge, and boom. So there's a little bit of setup in the front, but nowhere near as pasting the same thing 80 or different things from one program to another to make it, you know, line up perfectly and everything. It'll be exactly the same. It'll just duplicate everything and make it with the new name. So let's jump over to InDesign and I'll show you how I did it. This is Adobe InDesign. So I'm using the outdated version because I don't use it very often, but I do need to update it. So unfortunately, this is the 2021, but this will work in any of the future ones because I use that at work. What you're looking at here is the backer card. And what I did was I made this backer card the dimensions that were on the Amazon. So the Amazon listing. So it was 3 inches by 4.7. And I made that my document, and I gave it the smallest margins I could so that when I printed it, it left a little bit of space, but also didn't do a full bleed, only because I don't know that my printer would do that, and it probably would get ink all over the sides. So I left the small border just, you know, for in case. So what I did when I laid this out is I measured where my keychain would fall once it's looped in. So I measured over and put in some guides. That's what you'll see, these blue guides. I measured in. It ended up being about 1 inch in on each side, and then that's where the little hole punch out is to hang the keychain. So I was able to put my logo off to the right, add my designs or whatever embellishment, you know, you would want to put on your card. And then I centered on this piece the 2x2 circle representing where with the chain where it will fall, so that I know none of this stuff will get covered up and it'll nest right in there, in which it did perfectly. And at the bottom, I had 3/4 of an inch from the bottom before it touched the keychain. So I made my box here do that exact same thing. So it stops here at 3/4 from the bottom, but I didn't want the text butt up against it, just in case if the opening where the keychain hangs would slide a little. So I gave myself a little bit of a buffer, and I made my wording box just a little under a 1/2 inch, and have my dog name here. And then I didn't do it on my example, but I think I'm going to add the SKU number on here, just so that we can have a second way to look it up if something doesn't come up correctly in Square when we're doing checkout. So I named my SKU numbers SKU, obviously, for the product lookup, and then I did at KC for keychain, and then I put 3 zeros just for a placeholder, but that will be where it will automatically count from here. So if you look at my spreadsheet, I'm going to go to numbers here, and I'm going to pull up my keychain list here. This was my original one. I just had all of them here. So I went in and I added a keychain. Like I didn't need all of these in this. Oh, okay, wait. I didn't need all of these lines. So I shrunk it down to just have these. And I named this one SKU. And then I did SKU keychain 001. And I always like to leave 3 just in case I hit the 100 mark, then I'm not scrambling to do that later. So I have, come on, it's not playing with me today. But yeah, so this will read SK1. I don't know why it's not letting me open it up. There we go. And then when I want to do SKU keychain 002, you need at least 2 of them so that you can do the auto populates. Then this way you drag down, it'll automatically put this in. And this can be done in Excel as well. I'm not very savvy with Excel, but I do know that. So you want to at least start with 2 things so it can sense the pattern, and then it'll go through and you can go all the way, drop down, and it'll count all the way for you. So then you have your dog names in alphabetical order and your SKU number that matches with each one. So back in InDesign, what you'll do is you'll go under Window, Utilities, and you're going to go to Data Merge, and it'll give you this little window here, which I have. And what this will do is it's asking you to choose a data source. So that will be your Excel file that you're looking for. So for me, this one here is my CSV file. Excuse me. And you will select that, you will hit open, and it automatically populates your columns from your Excel file. So we had our dog names in one line and SKUs in the other. So since I already have this set up how I want it, all I need to do is I just need to select the text I want to replace. And I'm going to say replace that with every instance of the dog name. And then here, I'm going to select the SKU number, and I'm going to replace that with every variation of the SKU. So you can see over here, it's counted that on this first page, it's being used at least once. So you could have the SKU number multiple places. You could have the dog names multiple places, but we're just doing it here. So here's where the magic happens. When I hit preview, there is my dog names. So I can go through here and it'll have every single page, and every single SKU number will change accordingly. So now when I go to print, I will have every single one will be a separate page so that I can just kind of throw them through and print and let them go. So to save this out, you exit your preview mode, you'll hit this little create merged document. It will come up with all of this, which will just stay as default. You want to do all the records, obviously. You don't want, unless you want to only do like certain pages. generate overset text is basically if the dog name, and I started with the dog that had the longest name, which was the Nova Scotia Duck-Doling Retriever, so that I could make sure that the text was all the same size and I wasn't like squishing that last one in. But if you have long text, this will give you a document saying, hey, you have some that the names got, or the wording got cut off, and you can go in and manually fix them. And then if you had images that you were merging, which you can do, but I wasn't doing that for this one, you can alert it if the items are missing. So I am going to hit OK. And what it does is it actually exports that, and it says no overset text, which is a good thing. And it creates a brand new document. And then when I go to my pages, I can see now I have 79 pages. So every single one of these is a separate page. So when I hit print, it will print 79 individual pages and not duplicate, I don't have to turn on and then type the new name and then hit print and type. This way, if I ever need to reprint these, I have them and I can go in and say, oh, well, I only want to print page 10 because I made a new dog and I only need to print page 10. I can go there and I have it ready. So in that fraction of a second, I just created 79 pages all in a matter of seconds there. So hopefully that helps somebody out. But I'm going to start pulling these cards out and work on these as little as I can today before I have to log back in to work for lunch, and then this will probably spill over into tomorrow or tonight, but I will start adding them through and seeing how it goes. Hope this helps somebody. Hello and welcome to Wednesday. So what do we got going on today? Today I have a package coming from Amazon with additional keychains and coasters, and I want to do some of the more popular breeds, but I also want to have some on hand for the upcoming show. So I have all of the dog keychains packaged in little folders. So I've got 3 of these that have all of the breeds completed. And I have the oopsie ones that I'm going to remake. So I was just holding off on making those when I got the next set, because then I can like duplicate and do a full set and press them all at once instead of doing 1 or 2 at a time. So I have, once I get those in the mail today, I can work on printing out more popular ones. Like I want to probably have extras of like the Dalmatians, German Shepherds are big for me. Great Danes, surprisingly, are big for me. Dachshunds, the ones that I know that do really well. I'm going to go into my Square analytics and look and see what stickers sold. That will be what is in this area that people are more apt to buy. That way I have extras for when I take it to the show. So I'm going to work on those. I also got the step 2 email from the vendor show that I was trying to get into for October. So I am one more step closer. All they need to do is receive my check in the mail, which the post office just picked up. So gonna be excited. When they get that, then I am a definite in. But I was accepted. So once they receive all that, then it's official. So I will be doing that in October, the first weekend. So that's the 4th. And I was looking at some other shows that had come up in my feed. We're still going to weigh those and see if they're worth going to before I apply. What else was there? I think that was pretty much it. I'm going to spend my lunch break just kind of tidying up a little bit. And then, my banner. I completed my banner for my tent. So I'm going to pull it up. I'll show you what it looks like, but they are saying that it is on the way, which makes me super happy. So let's see, where is it? Where is my banner? There it is. So here is my lovely, lovely banner. There it is. It's going to look so cool. I can't wait. I have my QR code to visit my website, and then I have my socials, and then I did an as seen on YouTube to try to drive some traffic there. And I got a 2 foot by 6. So excited to see how that turns out. Good morning and welcome to Friday. So it is early and we are wrapping up a couple little things before work starts here at 8. I did put a decent dent into my list here. So I try to get it out of here, have it shoved back here. So I had a lot of admin to do because of my new card. So I got that taken care of. I paid my taxes for 2025 local. And I also got all the dog keychains done. I am down to 2 more dog breeds that I skipped and already forgot to make. I needed to tweak the art a little bit. So I have 2 that I need to press there. I have 3 oopsies that I need to redo. And those I was waiting on getting my Amazon package, which I did get yesterday. So I have the new blank keychain. So I'll probably double up on some of the more popular ones for the shows. So that'll probably spill into next week if I don't get them done this weekend. But I got the bulk done. So that is a huge check off on my list. And I also made a bank run because I needed to take my market stuff to the bank. So I did that. And I worked on my banner. So I am still waiting to get shipping confirmation on it. I haven't heard anything yet, but it is, I think, completed. And now it's just waiting for it to show up. So if it comes next week, that would be fabulous. But like I said, it's not due to come until the 14th. So I've got some time on that. The only thing that I have on my list that I did not get done, which I'm going to maybe try to get done so I can really say they're finished, is the nose art decals are not in square. And I do have one that when I was going through, I realized one had a crazy looking eye and it kind of disturbed me. So I want to fix it. Well, hang on. His right eye just kind of creeps me out. So, or left eye, I'm sorry. On the right for you, but left. So yeah, I want to pull that one off, put a new eyeball on there, and then that will be done with all of the nose decals. Then I got to figure out the pricing and everything for the keychains. And the only thing that is new that I want to bring to market is in this little bin right there, the gray one. And I haven't shown anything on Facebook yet for it. Like I said, I threw the fabric out there earlier in the week for people to guess, but nobody really guessed what I was making. So I did film another little snippet I might put up today and try to get more interest and say, hey, here's another clue, and see if people get it. But those I'll be taking to the dog show as well. And future markets, I'm hoping that it's something easy enough that I know I can do, that is great for the pet shows, but also can be an everyday, casual purchaser that it doesn't have to be pet related, but I can make it pet related. So, but that's it. I mean, I kicked butt on this list this week. So yeah, I got everything taken care of. I'm hoping to have a nice relaxing weekend. I did kind of slack off on my to-do, so I need to get on there and post some more designs to fill up that space and try to get, my digital business on there up and, get a nice little catalog going. So once I get that caught up, I can do that. And yeah, so I don't have much else to talk about, so I'm going to end the vlog here. I think we had a really productive week, and I hope to catch you next week. So if you like this video, or you know somebody that might like it, please share it, and also subscribe so you don't miss the next one for next week. And I will catch you then. Bye, guys.